The Winnipeg Jets have suspended defenseman Dustin Byfuglien for not reporting to training camp. How does this impact their salary cap situation, and how will it impact their relationship with the player longer term? We'll discuss the situation coming up next. So welcome back here to Top Shelf Hockey. We have some more breaking news out of the Winnipeg Jets organization. Now, of course, as we know, Dustin Byfuglien has not been at training camp and was granted a personal leave of absence by the Winnipeg Jets to be away from the team. And it's been reported on a couple different occasions, mainly by TSN insider Bob McKenzie, that he's basically pondering his future and wasn't really 100% sure if he wanted to continue playing hockey. We know but Dustin Byfuglien battled a lot of injuries last year. We've heard some reports, people saying that it just looked like he might have lost his passion for the game after suffering numerous concussions and foot injuries, that maybe he just wasn't sure if he had enough to keep going, or maybe he was going to be contemplating calling it a career. Either way, at this point, the personal leave of absence has been going on for some time, and the Winnipeg Jets had to make a decision on what to do to kind of protect their own interests here and to give them the most flexibility moving forward, especially if he does not return. So they've therefore gone ahead and filed the paperwork to suspend the player, which will have a major impact on their overall salary cap situation. Now, I'll give you a quick snapshot here from capfriendly.com, and you'll see that after this has been updated on their situation with the salary cap, that they now have over $23 million in salary cap space. Actually, that even puts them under the salary cap floor, so they do need to sign some players to get back above that to be cap compliant for the coming year. But of course, they have RFAs Patrick Laine and Kyle Connor to deal with here, and hopefully they'll have them signed sooner rather than later, and that will no longer be an issue because they're both going to be commanding some pretty significant salaries. Now, this might sound a lot worse than what it is, but it really isn't. It's been reported that there was meetings between Byfuglien and the head coach and GM. I believe it was on Thursday. Looks as though Byfuglien's not really any closer to making a decision on his future. So the Winnipeg Jets had to do this, and like I said, in order to kind of protect themselves and give themselves the most flexibility. Now let's take a quick look here at what Bob McKenzie had to say about the situation earlier tonight on Twitter. So he reports here that Winnipeg has suspended Dustin Byfuglien for failing to report to training camp. If he doesn't report by opening day, Winnipeg loses his cap hit until he reports. Not nearly as ominous as it sounds, Winnipeg still wants Byfuglien back, but needs to protect roster and cap flexibility until they know his intentions. The paperwork has been filed, but it can be reversed at any time, and it's not something that would come as any surprise to Byfuglien. In the meantime, Winnipeg waits while he ponders his future. So I think it's pretty safe to say that what kind of impact this will have on the relationship with the player and the team probably really isn't much of anything. I don't think it's going to have any impact. It really won't come as much of a surprise to Dustin Byfuglien. Would not be surprising to find out when they last met a few days ago that he was advised that if he couldn't give him a decision within a couple of days, that they would have to go down that road. Obviously, they need to be able to put another player on the roster to replace him. They need the flexibility of not having his cap hit against their cap situation to be able to make other roster moves to be able to put a decent team on the ice. So obviously they'd rather have Byfuglien playing. He's been a big part of their team for the last number of years as a huge leader on that team, a big part of their blue line, and a blue line that's already lost a lot of significant pieces during this most recent offseason. So certainly, as I mentioned before, I think Kevin Cheveldayoff, the GM of the Jets, has one of the toughest jobs, if not the toughest job in hockey right now. Obviously, he's got the contracts of Laine and Connor still hanging over him, not resolved, where players remain unsigned, and now Dustin Byfuglien remains out pondering his future, and really, like I said, he's not that easy to replace. It's not like they can take his cap hit and just go find another player to pay big money to replace him. He's a unique kind of player, and it's like this time of year, it's certainly hard to swing a significant deal to bring in a pretty significant piece to your roster as other teams are going through training camp trying to assess what they have and get ready for the coming year. So either way, this is pretty big news out of Winnipeg, but nothing for fans to be too upset about. If Dustin Byfuglien decides he wants to come back and play, I'm sure the Jets will welcome him with open arms, reverse the suspension, and get him back on the active roster as soon as they're able to. But in the meantime, it gives them more flexibility with their roster and cap situation moving forward. Maybe if nothing else, but maybe we'll see an accelerated move here by Cheveldayoff to get Laine and Connor signed and hopefully get this team back in order here, because they've gone through a lot in the last number of weeks as training camps begun to open. They need to get some more positive news here to get this team rolling in the right direction as the season gets underway. So let me know what your thoughts are on this move by the Winnipeg Jets down below and how they might handle this with the cap situation should they gain that flexibility, assuming he does not report and remains out when the season opens. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and turning on your notifications so you don't miss any future content. We'll keep you all up to date with all the breaking news from around the NHL. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and I will catch you next time.